What exactly is happening in Ireland right now? Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the riots that have broke out in Ireland over the past couple of days after multiple stabbing incidents that resulted in 3 children and 1 adult being injured. Now, thankfully, none of the victims have passed away from their injuries, and I wish that they get well soon. And prayers out to them, prayers out to the families. Hopefully, everybody's able to deal with what happened in a healthy way. But I think this incident might have been the straw on the camel's back for a lot of issues that have been happening in Ireland and all throughout Europe as a result of a lot of migrants coming in. Now, if you search on the internet for this particular story, you're not really going to find a lot, meaning you won't find the guy's name, you won't find his exact age, nor his ethnicity, nationality. What I was able to find on social media is that the guy's in his 40s. He has been in Ireland for about 20 years as a citizen, and allegedly he's from Algeria, North Africa. Now, if you ask me, Algerians, Tunisians, all these people, they're kind of like Southern Europeans. This is ancient Carthage, then the Roman Empire, the Ottoman Empire, so on and so forth. They're not people like me. They're not black. They are pretty much Southern European, in my humble opinion, but that's a different story, and I digress. Regardless of his exact nationality, the general sentiment is that he is not Irish. Therefore, we got a problem when you're talking about violence that non-native people commit. That might be the issue. Now, before I go any further, let's go ahead and get into a news clip. If you want to see the clip in full without my commentary, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
34 people were arrested in a riot in the city's historic center overnight. Anti-immigrant protesters fought with police after a stabbing incident involving 3 young children. Ramy Inocencio reports on the violence apparently fueled by larger concerns about immigration.
Now, let's pause for a minute. To be specific, the riots are in Ireland, but I think they're centered in the city of Dublin, just to be clear about what's happening.
Hundreds of police officers faced down a swarm of rioters in central Dublin. The mob of about 100 setting fire to buses and police vehicles and looting more than a dozen businesses. Ireland's police commissioner called the violence disgraceful and said far-right groups were responsible.
That's kind of a cop-out to me, talking about the whole far-right thing. And before we continue into it, I'm not going to say that the rioting is right, because ultimately, what are you doing? You turn up your own stuff. So it's like, what's the purpose? But at the same time, I kind of understand why there's frustration and why there's hostility, because if there had been an issue about migrants happening before this and the concerns of citizens was not heard, and then a migrant stabs 3 kids and a woman, allegedly, it's like, okay, now we got to do something. So I kind of understand that. I see a sign right here that says Irish Lives Matter. Very interesting.
We have a complete lunatic hooligan faction driven by far-right ideology.
Sparking the chaos, several stabbings earlier in the day of 3 young children and a woman who tried to stop their attacker.
It's weird that it's being called far-right ideology when that same kind of behavior over here would not be considered far-right. But let's keep on going.
It was horrendous, and the children screaming and the women screaming.
The sole person of interest, a man in his 40s, an Irish national only for about half that time. The knifings unleashed rising anti-immigration anger. This year, Ireland marked record immigration, granting entry to more than 100,000 foreigners. The same anti-immigration wave delivered a surprise landslide win this week for anti-Islam politician Geert Wilders in the Netherlands.
People expect our agenda of hope, tougher asylum and immigration policy.
Wilders is known as the Dutch Donald Trump, as much for his populist policies as for his hair.
Is he known as a Dutch Donald Trump? I never heard about Geert Wilders being named as a Dutch Donald Trump, but maybe I'm just kind of out of touch. Maybe I don't really know, but I guess anybody that says, let's keep a cap on the immigration, let's not just have open borders, I guess anybody especially if you're a white man with blonde or white hair. Anybody like that is considered Donald Trump.
He's called the Quran a fascist book and has been the target of death threats. As police in Dublin prepare for a possible second night of violence, the Prime Minister said these scenes should be condemned by all those who believe in the rule of law and democracy.
So that's what's happening right now over in Ireland. Really unfortunate that you got a lot of violence and chaos and mayhem happening, but I mean, let's go ahead and just watch some of this here. I'm going to just show more from the beginning opening sequence about what's happening. I'm going to turn the sound down just so you're able to see what's going on. I mean, a lot of these scenes are pretty rough. Some of this stuff, I mean, looting the Foot Locker, this is like Black Lives Matter type stuff, in my humble opinion. I understand the sentiment about, hey, we got 3 little kids that then got stabbed and a woman got stabbed. But, I mean, still in the pair of Jordans, what is that going to do to help the situation? Okay, this needs to be about the government. If the government are allowing in dangerous migrants, and that's becoming the problem, you know, stealing mannequins and that's the hooliganism ain't gonna make a difference. That's not really gonna help you, in my humble opinion. Now, of course, you are getting the message out there. You are letting your voice be heard 100%. But to me, it's the same thing as Black Lives Matter, because Black Lives Matter, their whole viewpoint was, well, it's police brutality. We're getting killed in the street, all this, that, and the third. So we're going to go loot a Macy's and steal toilet paper and whatnot from Wally World, Target. We're going to steal Jordans and et cetera, et cetera. We're going to set stuff on fire, burn our own neighborhoods down. It's the exact same thing they did with Black Lives Matter. And their whole thing was police brutality. Over here, they got a legitimate claim about the migrant violence. Allegedly, a migrant went and did this to these children and to an adult. Now, but one thing about it, this was not an illegal immigrant. This guy had been over in Ireland for the past 20 years as a citizen. So, I mean, when they mention this past year was the biggest year for migrants to come in, it's kind of not related to a guy who had been here for the past 20 years. Ultimately, this guy was an Irish citizen for a long time. But I understand why these kind of things are going on. And if you don't fix the problem, you're going to have a lot more social unrest. It's going to be a lot more stuff like this. Again, I don't condone any kind of violence or tearing the Foot Locker up because of what happened, but you can fix this. You could definitely fix this. You could prevent this kind of thing from happening again. What you got to do is put a cap on that migration. Absolutely. Put a cap on it, because you're going to have social unrest. You're going to have social problems as a result of all of what's happening. And as I close, I want to say this. Again, I hope that those who were injured by this person can get well soon and heal and move forward with your life in a positive way. And I hope that the migrant crisis that we are facing here in the USA does not spread to the rest of the world. And I hope that we can get a hold on it too. I mean, we got a problem happening. I showed on my live stream just a couple of days ago how they sent, I think, 8,000 or 9,000 migrants to one housing project in QB, Queensbridge, in New York City, one of the biggest project complexes in the world, if not the biggest. 8,000 to 9,000 of them. Then there was a Thanksgiving dinner. Now, the dinner normally would feed 2,000 people for free, but you got 9,000 migrants in these projects, and they're hungry too. So who's getting fed? Now we're battling over resources. The battle over resources in that situation will cause conflict. The battle over real estate, I want to be right in downtown. I want to be right in Manhattan. I want to be right where the action is, right where the ball drops. The battle over real estate, the battle over resources, the battle over culture, language, etc. is going to cause a big problem, not only in the USA, but Europe, other parts of the world, where that problem does not get addressed and resolved sooner than later. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on the riots that are happening right now in Ireland? You think they're justified, non-justified? Do you understand what's going on or why things are happening? Do you not understand what's happening? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I don't condone breaking into a Foot Locker and stealing Jordans because you're upset with what's going on. However, apparently there is a problem with the migrant crisis over in Europe, the same as it is here. And when a problem exists, you can fix it. And if you don't fix it, you're going to have more problems. So the choice is up to the people that are in power, the powers that be. Are you just going to allow the migrant crisis to worsen? Are you going to allow more and more in, kind of unfettered, not really caring about what's going on? Is that going to happen? Or are you going to try to find a way to fix it? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.